Okay, so to regard something is to kind of contemplate it or think about it. So if the subject here is our mental, social, and emotional lives, swathes of our mental, social, and emotional lives, that is a lot of our of these aspects of our lives. Those are things that can be regarded, but they're not things that themselves regard. Uh,
It should have be to be before.
yeah, so you could say,
May be regarded.
yeah, may be regarded as evolutionary adaptations, or may have originated. That is, where do they start? But
Yeah.
it can't be have regarded.
Yeah.
It can't be originated either.
Yeah.
So I think because of the kinds of subjects that can regard things, and also because of um, I think anything evolutionary, you're thinking about origins as well. So that's the other clue, is
Mm-hmm.
that originated is likely to be better because it's about where did something come from. Or thinking of something in a specific way. So I regard my colleague as lazy, or I I would regard um, any interruption as rude. That you're considering or thinking about it, and then you're saying something about how you think about it. Um, you could say something like the less polluted, um, yeah, people, you have to have a person or a human-like agency regarding, so you have to have something like um, Sydney is regarded as a clean city by many of its inhabitants. Um, so the agent there is its inhabitants. So even if you're turning it into passive voice, there's still it's still implied that regarding is something that humans are doing. They're thinking. Mm. I think this is a subtle difference. I think immune from um, makes better, it works better in this context, but prohibited also works grammatically. I think the difference is that there's an underlying metaphor there. So prohibition is about explicit rules. You say you're prohibited from drinking alcohol at this park at night. Um, Immune is not about explicit rules, it's about processes. And so I think the reason why that works slightly better here is that they're not attributing any central agency to the barrier. They're not saying, "Oh, there's a rule against doing this." They're just saying that some processes or some ideas are immune from or protected naturally from certain ways of explanation, certain ways of explaining things, and others aren't. Use They're using it as a metaphor, but what they're saying is that there are some processes that we need to think about in more natural terms, and there are some that we need to think about more like laws or rules. And the reason why laws or rules doesn't quite work here is because who would say whether you can or can't use evolutionary explanations? There's no central agency that could say there's a rule here. What there is there's I guess, a complex process of people discussing these topics. And so some things seem kind of natural to that process and others don't. Okay. Okay, so this sentence is actually summing up the idea of the whole paragraph. The idea of the whole paragraph is that there's a way of explaining people that that attributes everything back to their evolution and nothing to their behavior or nothing to their individual circumstances. So the implications of that way of thinking are that men and women might differ in their inborn abilities. That is, they might essentially differ in terms of what they're able to do, or that parenting may have little influence on personality because parenting is something that happens within the life course of an individual, whereas evolution is something that happens over millions of years. So this follows from the whole paragraph. That's me saying that it's not their fault, it's the species, it's the fault of the species for not evolving properly.